Hello, welcome to Soulprint Insights. So thank you so much for being here. To the subscribers who have hung in there as I've been AWOL for months. I really appreciate the support and the fact that you just hung in there. So thank you very much. You know, part of the reason that I sort of felt comfortable, if you will, taking that hiatus is because I really feel like the Soulprint Insights channel in the playlist has such a lot to offer. And for new subscribers that maybe haven't, I really encourage you to go through the playlist because you're going to find all kinds of really interesting information on there. You know, everything from crystals and pendulums to channeled information, you know, on a vast, huge variety of topics. So if you're new to the channel, or even if you've been are an established subscriber, but it's been a while, you know, I kind of encourage you to just go back and you know, go through the playlist and see what appeals to you because they're, you know, the videos are timeless, right? Whenever you are drawn to see them is when you need to see them. So, having said all of that, I want to do a series. I think this is going to be a 3-part series called In Death. Okay, I'll grant you it's not very original. But part of what's motivating this is that, as most of you know, in August, I lost a very dear cousin. In July, I lost my mom. And while I was away in Toronto for the funeral of my cousin, I spoke to a girlfriend of mine in Vancouver. And during the time that I was gone, she was attending 2 separate funerals. And so it really got me to thinking about really the vast number of people and souls who are leaving um, the earth right now. And of course, you know, the pandemic has accelerated that to an insane number. But I wanted to just take some time seeing if we could get some clarity on why so many and why now. And even more important, why some leave so suddenly and why some like linger and linger. And it seems to be such a hard and difficult transition for them to make. So this is going to be channeled only because when I channel information, it tends to come out a bit more fluidly than if I sort of sit here and ramble. So I am going to channel this information. I have my handy dandy beautiful wand that one dragon made for me. And as always, the channeled information from Masudius is copyrighted. Okay, so here we go. Masudius, can you please explain, give some clarification or understanding on why so many souls are leaving the earth at this time and why some souls choose to leave so quickly and others take so much longer to move into that period of transition? Greetings, Soulprint Insights subscribers and viewers. As always, we are delighted to answer your question and provide for you those insights that we can. So the transition from life to what you call death is one that every soul goes through. It is one that is not as random as you would guess, and is not only God's will, as perhaps many of you have been taught. Every moment of your lifetime is a soul print, a blueprint about what it is that you want to accomplish during the course of a lifetime. Incorporated into that blueprint are something referred to by you as exit points. They are places throughout a lifetime where a soul has chosen to have an exit point. Meaning, if they feel that they have accomplished what they needed to accomplish, or they feel like they've accomplished all they can accomplish given the circumstances or situations, that is a time for them to exit. They don't have to, but it's available to them. And the average soul returning to the earth plane will have multiple exit times in place, usually covering a series of decades. So you might have one for your 40s, and then one for your 60s, your 70s, your 90s. And of course, often there are exit strategies much younger than that. The exit places are times where you can easily and comfortably make that transition. So why are so many choosing to exit in such a compressed period of time, as there are so many souls choosing to leave the planet right now? Well, in part because so many souls that are here or were here for very, very specific purposes, as discussed in previous videos. The generation before and before and before, where you are now, many of those souls came to the planet to help prepare people for the energy shift from the third dimension into the fourth and fifth dimensions of this planet, which you are slowly undergoing at this time. In order for the people sort of who are here now, who are helping that shift and change to be here, previous generations needed to come first. And you have often heard us say that we refer to the flower children of the 60s, the ones that came and planted the seeds. But before them, there were their parents and their grandparents who also were part of that larger soul group, who were bringing forward the circumstances and the situations that would allow the flower children to plant the seeds. And it would allow that those who came after them, those who are now in their, 60s, who are in their 40s, who are in their 20s, to move into an environment that was, helpful and conducive for the energy work they wanted to do. And, make no mistake, energy workers, many of them are aware that they are energy workers, but many, many are not. They simply do their energy work. They live their soul print. They live their purpose simply by living their lives. It is almost as if the path they follow has been created to create the environment and the situation where they are best able to do the work and have the experiences that they came here to have. So what has happened now is, as the energy is shifting from 3 to 4th and 5th dimension, you have those souls who are really ready to go now. Their work has been done, and it's time that they want to return back to energy form. They want to be able to complete this experience. And for many of them, they will also sort of watch over as guardians, some of those who in fact they were instrumental in bringing to the awareness that they have. And again, some of them are known and some of them are unknown. So you may have guardians guarding you who, if you were given their name or even describe, if they were described to you, you wouldn't be able to have a frame of reference for them because you may not have known them in your physical experience, but on other vibrations and other levels, you absolutely knew them. And in some cases, and you will get this with particularly teachers of spiritualism, those people who are actually able to reach a large audience, that they understand on whatever level that they are shifting and changing people's lives and perspectives simply because those people hear of their work, not necessarily because they know each other. So there's that. So what you have now is you have many souls who are just, they're done. Their time is done. They have accomplished what they want to accomplish, and they're ready now to move on. And yes, some of those souls are, in their 70s and 80s and older, but some of them are actually quite young, possibly because they came to help clarify or define something that needed that clarification, whether that was within members of their own family or in some other way. So absolutely, there is sort of this exodus. Now, above and beyond that, you have a lot of souls who are leaving the planet who simply are not compatible with the fourth and fifth energy shift. They are sometimes very, very young souls who don't have the experience to handle the higher vibrations. Sometimes they are souls who, for whatever reason, are sort of not willing or able to see life through a lens that more accurately reflects the energies of the planet now. And so they simply are not compatible. And so many of those are choosing to leave. And we are not going to generalize, but there are many people who are returning to energy form as a result of the pandemic your global Earth is experiencing, as a result of their reluctance to see things through the current lens. And while that is unfortunate, and while their guides and guardians and angels have done their best to help them clarify and move forward, or to help them simply transition, there is a great deal of that going on. There is also a sense, on the planet Earth, and honestly, in other galaxies and universes, the passing of a young soul is considered especially tragic. And we understand that for you it is. From the soul's perspective, they came with usually very, very specific intentions that needed, because of their passing, would bring awareness, would bring education, would bring some knowing to the people in their closest circles. There are reasons and purposes, and while we do not minimize the tragedy in your world of the young passing, we also want to simply remind you that there are reasons beyond what you see and what you know in your dimension. Simply as there are people who choose to be born to countries where their life is hard and harsh. Those who wish to be born into a place where their environment in the home is harsh. There are more stories and more variations of the story than you can possibly absorb or imagine at this time. But to the soul print, to the guardians and angelic beings that watch over that soul, there is clarity and understanding. You also have to realize that once the soul print is in place, the energy that causes a soul print to be shifted is the energy of free will. And again, very often you will, have those who come into position to sort of help direct you back onto the path. But ultimately, every soul has free will and can make choices of their own volition. While there is a great deal of loss going on right now, it is in many ways preparation for the energy vibration dimensions, the fourth and the fifth, that have and must come into play on your planet should the planet not be destroyed. It is imperative that the shift in energy is allowed to continue, evolve, and take place. And if you have a lot of energy that is incompatible with that, that is when souls need to and choose to leave. On your earth, saying goodbye is a tragedy. It is hard. It is painful. Even if you understand all of the aspects of spirituality, even if you are knowledgeable in the fact that energy of the soul never dies, it simply transforms. Even, it is a hard and difficult thing to say goodbye to those you love, those people who have been important and special in your life. But you must understand that as they transition back into energy form and they leave that physical encasing behind, their soul is set free. They are rejoicing. They are once again literally flying through the galaxy. They are their true and authentic self. And that is no little thing. So why do some people leave very quickly and some people just seem to have these very long and often difficult periods of time that they go through as they are preparing to make this transition? Well, in part because there are oftentimes those who leave quickly because they have done what they need to do. They have whatever it is inside of them that really either doesn't fear death, or they go so quickly that because they may have a fear of death, they don't stay in the fear. They simply are gone before there is, in some ways, even a realization that that is occurring. This will often happen with people who die very, very suddenly. So, accidents, I hate to say this, but like gunshot wounds, people who die in explosions or natural catastrophes that are instantaneous. So there is that aspect. There are those that leave very quickly, sometimes because they have been resistant to sort of leaving in a timely fashion. And so ultimately, when they pass, it really is a very almost like a finger snap. And 1 minute they're in their body, and literally the next second they are not. Um, because you can only, especially if a soul has chosen to live to sort of that last exit, you can only drag that process out for so long before it's simply time that you must leave. Those who tend to suffer longer goodbyes, in some ways, while it is very, very sad for those on the planet, and indeed sometimes can be incredibly painful and difficult for those who are moving towards that transition, invariably, when the soul print is reviewed, it is because there was either something that they needed to come to terms with, they needed to realize, heal, let go of, atone for. And sometimes, in fact, a large percentage of the time, it is to provide insight or guidance or lessons or awareness to those within their circle. So very often you will see, for example, somebody who is moving towards transition in ill health, and they wait because they are waiting for a child to come to their bedside. They wait because they need to apologize to somebody specifically, or they need to hear something specifically from someone. So, there are, again, all manner of reasons why the soul takes time. The other thing that you must consider is that in some ways, the healthier the body, the healthier the physical being is, the more trauma has to impact the physical body. And we understand that there are many souls who in a finger snap leave their body and they're gone. So then the question is, well, why do others go through this process where, they're having debilitating incidents one after another until finally the body is so fatigued and worn out that it sort of shuts down? And again, that has to do very often with the soul print which was determined. And again, you don't have access to your soul print, because if you had access to it, that would take away your sense of free will and choice, because you would then try to live up to the situations and circumstances of your soul print, and that just cannot be allowed. But the soul print has clarity when it is created, and remember always, it is created as a joint commitment between your soul and the divine. And that is why we say, for people who say things like it is God's will, that's not entirely accurate, because your will and God's will are intertwined as the soul print is being created and the soul print is being lived and experienced. So I suppose you could say, in some ways, the answer is as simple and as complex as each and every soul on the planet, because each and every soul has their agenda. They have their mission. They have the things that they wish and desire to accomplish. And so they do. As time moves forward on this planet, there's going to be a more peaceful realization about the passing of people. And more, there will be awarenesses of how those people who have passed continue to be around and continue to communicate and watch over, protect, etc., with those they have left behind. And again, some people will choose to stay with those they have left behind almost until the bloodline is over. So they will be there for generations. Some will be there until the people they know have, or they knew in that lifetime, have passed. Some do not. Some simply go on into, they transition, they go into the light, they go in, they do their life review, they go through the series, and either they rest or they spend time in recovery, they spend time, assisting others, and then they simply go on to another life experience. Again, the soul's free will is the author of the story you create. And that story is your lifetime. Mostly, the message that we would most like to pass on and share with you is this. You are never abandoned. You are never left alone. There are always those who continue to surround and support you. And very often, they are in energy form. You do not leave until that which you wished to accomplish is accomplished. But understand, we just said that which you wish to accomplish. We did not say when you have learned your lesson. Because as we have said many, many times, the earth is not about learning lessons. The earth is about having experiences that merge with the divine, that merge with the greatest and greater consciousness. We want you to find comfort from the fact that those who leave are going back to their most authentic being, form, and energy, and they rejoice. They are now unencumbered. They are able to be in the form of highest conscious energy vibration, often known as the divine. As you say your goodbyes on the planet, cherish the memories, but let that soul go. Let them not linger. Let them not become trapped by your sorrow where you won't release them. Let them go so they can once again be pure energy. And in pure energy, they will often be very, very close to you. The short answer to the original question is this. The energies of the planet are shifting and changing, and those whose energies are no longer needed or necessary, and those whose energies are not able to transition to a higher vibration, by and large, that is who you see leaving in such large numbers. And the third reason, of course, is that there are those who leave simply to bring education or awareness, understanding, or clarity. As we leave, we want you to know that within each and every There is that spark of the divine. It is pure, highest vibration energy. It cannot and will not and is never destroyed. That is what leaves as you transition. And only that. That is why the body must stay. The body, simply by its energy makeup, is too dense. It's too heavy. But your soul, your spirit, your divinity, that flies free. We hope that we have answered your question. We hope that we have brought you some awareness or understanding, perhaps comfort. And we thank you for this opportunity to share our humble wisdom with you. At this time, we remain Masudius. Okay. I got nothing to add. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this information with you. I hope that it has been helpful. If you have specific questions connected to sort of in-depth, there's specific things you want to know, please write them down in the comment section. And as I go through, I'll make note of them and I'll see if we can incorporate some of those questions into the broader questions I have and get you some answers, because that's part of what this channel is about. It's supposed to be interactive. Okay, so until next time, stand in your light. Bye for now.